That's a big deal. All Disney in one place never existed before. That's going to Disneyland every day of the week. Someone asked me today, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is this? I said, I don't know, 15.
What's the magic behind Disney Plus that will separate it from other streaming services?
Well, I think those brands and the connection that people have to those brands. So this sets us apart from the rest of the world because of that connection that people have to, these beloved storytellers, really.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Gen Z General Talk. I'm your host, Tim Rose, and today I want to talk about a major incident that has rocked the media world, the announcement of Disney Plus. Now, if you remember last episode, I talked about how Gen Z has radically changed the way that media is consumed in the modern world, specifically through streaming services. Well, today, I'm here to tell you about how the Walt Disney Company's announcement of their very own streaming service is a prime example of how Gen Z is actually changing media consumption. Now, the voice you heard at the beginning of the podcast was that of Bob Iger, the chairman and CEO of Disney. Now, he was discussing his excitement for Disney's latest and possibly greatest project in years, that being Disney Plus. Now, Disney Plus was announced on November 8th of 2018 and is essentially a streaming service that will hold all of Disney's media content, including projects from Star Wars, Pixar, Marvel, Fox, National Geographic, and more. The service will launch on November 12th of 2019 and will cost about $7 a month. Now, Iger expressed his excitement for the product in his interview with ABC News, which, by the way, Disney is the parent company of. Anyway, Iger's talk of Disney Plus being the next big deal has everyone talking. I mean, this is a huge deal. All of Disney's content is going to be available on this platform. That means we won't have to scroll through On Demand or Netflix or Amazon in hopes of finding the latest Marvel movie that was just released. Speaking of that, I'm about to tell you all the stuff you'll be able to watch on Disney Plus. And let me say, there's a lot of it. They've got princesses, they've got Pixar. You like lightsabers and space battles? Then you'll be happy because boom, they've got Star Wars. You want to watch superheroes battle evil for 2 hours? Boom, they've got the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You a big documentary nerd? Yeah, you are. They've got National Geographic. You want to bawl your eyes out as a grown man? Boom, Toy Story 3 is ready for your viewing pleasure. Look, my point is, they've got a whole lot of content, and most likely they'll have something for everyone to enjoy. So I'm sure Disney is very excited about this project. Now, with Disney pooling all of their resources into one project, this means that any Disney content that is currently available on other streaming services will be pulled off of those services. So, how are the other streaming services feeling about this? Well, although they're putting on a friendly facade on social media, with around 16% of Netflix's TV and 12% of its movies being Disney-owned, Netflix is going to be losing a lot of content and certainly has something to worry about. This new streaming service could become a serious rival, and this is going to be a hard pill to swallow for a company who has dominated the playing field for the last 8 years. But more importantly, how are people reacting to this new service's announcement? Well,
Disney Plus is the best thing that's ever happened to the fandom.
So good.
I'm so happy. I am so happy.
Wow.
Wow.
I am at a loss.
Nothing better to end it on
No.
than our pure excitement. November 12th.
November
You guys
12th. Okay.
stick
No.
around. Be
Stick
there.
around.
You'll be there. We'll
on
be
V-Squared.
there.
Take off
we'll
work.
Be there.
Take off work,
Yeah.
lay in bed, and
Enjoy Disney Plus.
Just
watch.
watch.
That was so good.
Oh.
so clearly people are excited for this upcoming media phenomenon. Now, for me personally, I have a love-hate relationship with this. I can definitely say I love it because Star Wars and Marvel being in the same place is always something to be excited about. However, there's also a part of me that is screaming anti-big business and that I need to hate what Disney has cooked up. And I bet that's how a lot of other Gen Z people are feeling too. Conflicted. However, I can say it's really hard to hate. Okay, so now that we've been able to lay everything out on the table and understand exactly what is going on with this whole Disney Plus incident and who's involved, I want to dive into the really interesting questions, the why questions. I want to know why Disney has waited so long to come out with their own streaming service, and what are the factors that contributed to Disney releasing Disney Plus in 2019. Think about it for a second. Disney is a huge company that is usually on top of every new development in the entertainment world. So why have they let competitors like Netflix and Amazon Prime rule for years with their streaming services? Maybe they hate the fact that they are shifting their core values and formula to adapt to Gen Z's new way of consuming media, but they know it's the choice they have to make in order to succeed financially. Maybe Disney hates this change more than we do. Now, in order to properly answer these questions, I think we have to look at this whole situation from multiple different viewpoints. First off, from a general standpoint, when we're asking the basic question of why Disney is actually changing up their formula to one that revolves around a streaming service, I think we can identify a pretty simple answer. That's the way that most people are consuming their media nowadays. Companies like Netflix and Hulu offer portability and convenience when watching your favorite movies and TV shows. And these are ideas that we value more than typical theater or broadcast television experiences. The relative ease that comes with using a streaming service is what draws us to it, and these features are paving the way for a more efficient era of media consumption. Disney has obviously picked up on this idea. Disney CEO Bob Iger even stated that, quote, "Well, I think you have to look at not only the way the world is going, but we had to assess what the biggest opportunity was for the company to grow over the long term. Clearly, consumers are enjoying a different form of entertainment in the home, one that is over the top and not necessarily connected to a traditional satellite or cable distributor, one that can be watched seamlessly on multiple devices. And so it was clear that given the company's ability to create content that people love, why not give people content that they love, but on platforms that are becoming more and more interesting to them and more compelling to them," end quote. And he's absolutely right. According to Netflix user demographics, 24% of users are between the ages of 18 to 24, which is just about the cutoff for Gen Z. That's nearly a quarter of Netflix's viewers. And with 77% of people within that age group stating that they are a Netflix member, it's clear that Gen Z is a dominating force in the media consumption market and that streaming services are their platform of choice. So this is clearly a smart move by Disney. They realize that this is the next step in the media world, and it's a step that they need to take too. They don't want to get left in the dust by Netflix, and subsequently left as the only company in the media market that sticks to its old formula. Or do they? I mean, think about it. Netflix came out with their own streaming service all the way back in 2007. That was 12 years ago. Are you telling me that they've dominated the streaming service market for 12 years and Disney didn't try to get their greedy hands all over that top spot until now? In 2019? What was the holdup, Disney? I mean, if they were waiting that long, something must have been holding them back, right? I mean, a company that is that efficient would not have just lazily sat back and watched Netflix rake in the cash and done absolutely nothing to compete against them. Now, when I first thought about this, the wide-eyed and innocent old me thought that, well, maybe they were clinging to their core values and were fearful of venturing into new territory. You know, Disney had a formula it was going to stick by, and it was going to stay true to its loyal audience. They didn't need no fancy streaming service to be successful, and they were going to be just fine by continuing on as they had done for so many years. But when I finally sat down and talked the issue over with Alexander Richards, a Newhouse Communications professor here at Syracuse University, he was able to shine an entirely new light on the subject for me. He helped me to realize that rather than this being an issue of crossing moral boundaries, it was actually most likely a legitimate business tactic that was going to ensure Disney's success. Overall, Professor Richards broke it down for me like this. So Disney realized way back in 2007 that Netflix really had something good cooking with this streaming service idea, but they had to see if it would actually work. So they let Netflix act as sort of a test launch with real live audiences. Once they saw that we the people loved the idea, they set to work. They came out with their service, but they needed to hold out on releasing it just yet. The reason? They allowed other streaming services to jack up their prices over the years and continue to become more expensive. And now, in 2019, Disney has swept in with that much cheaper option of Disney Plus that will surely have audiences immediately switching over. What a genius move by Disney. They recognized the potential of this idea, let other companies test the waters for them, had both the resources and the patience to wait out their competitors, and then came in with a much better looking version of the product that these companies have been selling for years. So, all in all, the entire creation and carefully timed release of Disney Plus seems to have been yet another demonstration of Disney's incredible entrepreneurial intellect. And we, the glorious, susceptible Generation Z, are going to be doing exactly what they want us to. Now, this move will likely put Disney even closer to the top of the media market, and will most likely push it towards a position of total market control. And guess what? This idea raises even more questions that can be answered. My new biggest burning question asks how far Disney will be allowed to horizontally integrate amongst the media market before the government steps in to handle the situation. And at this point, will the government even step in? Or will they turn a blind eye to Disney's media market rampage? Well, join me next time when I explore these questions further in my final episode of Gen Z General Talk. Until then, I'm Tim Rose, and as always, thanks for listening.